Hey there, we are live again with our motivational moments. It's Elke and Jen,
Hello.
and we are going to talk about a particular quote today that comes from Alvin Toffler. Let's read it out here. Okay, and sorry about not being on live yesterday on Friday, and we're here on Saturday actually because yesterday was Good Friday, and so we thought we would switch it to Saturday, and then we will be back on live on Monday, even though it's obviously Easter Monday, but we'll start again on Monday. So just anyone who's following us wondering what happened, this is what happened. Okay, so our quote today is, you've got to think about big things while you're doing small things so that all the small things go in the right direction. And that's by Alvin Toffler. What do you think about that one?
I really like this quote because when we're thinking about things in the big picture, and especially right now where a lot of us are trying to organize our lives and get everything together, because there's lots of things that are consistently and constantly changing very quickly, and we are all over the place because we don't really know what direction we're going, and we have to try and fix things.
And we're doing all the small things.
We're doing all the small things. Yeah. And so I think this quote really resonates with me because right now we're trying to finally go into a direction, and we've gone through, we've had a couple weeks to sort of process what's going on. Every day things are changing, and we've gotten over the point where we're thinking that this is going away fast. It's not. It's going to be here for the long run, right? And I think, at least for me, I can say that I've kind of got this head on my shoulders that are saying to myself now, okay, you need to be calm and cool and collected and organize your thoughts and start to get to where you want to go and figure out a plan. Because we've had our really good cry moment. We've had our really good, okay, I hope this goes away tomorrow moment. And then now we need to really buckle down and say, okay, this is my sort of new normal for a while, and what can I do to start organizing myself and getting to where I want to go, right? Because
the
big picture, because life is not going to stop for us. Life is going to go and keep going. Time is the only constant in our life that we can really rely on, and time keeps going further and ticking away. And so even though we have lots of really crazy obstacles right now, we have to look at the big things while we're doing the small things, so that all of the smaller things that we're actually filling in our time, so to speak, go towards the bigger picture, right?
And also realizing that the small things, which you might think are distractions or things you've got to do, but they're only for short-term gain, they're not. They're actually, depending on how you do them and what you do, will result in your long-term result, right? And so when you are doing these small things, you still, as the quote says, that you make sure that the small things all go in the right direction, because otherwise, if you don't have that big picture in mind, that things will get better, that there'll ultimately be a different situation than there is now. If you're just doing things to wait it out, basically, and not care about what happens or how you take your actions and why you're doing them and what the purpose is or lack of purpose, then you will be waking up when things are over realizing, oh, I could have actually done a little bit more to get me in a better spot now that everything's over. And you're going to have a lot of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And also, if you do anything that's a small thing now, not just in terms of responding to the situation, like getting groceries and all that stuff and making sure you're safe, but if you don't do the small things now, even if you can do a little bit towards something that's in your big picture future, then you are not going to get there, because ultimately, even if there wasn't a coronavirus situation happening, you would always have to do things at a smaller scale in order to, like, it's the pizza thing. You can't put the whole pizza in your mouth. You got to take a slice and eat even bites of that slice. And so while you're doing those little bites of the slice, that's still a matter of creating that entire pizza, or just getting rid of the entire pizza because you're eating it. But that's how you tackle a big project, right? Eat the whole pizza, eat it bite by bite. But each bite has to be very determined and resolute as to what it is that you're doing, right? You are not taking a piece of pizza out, and like if the objective is to eat the piece of pizza, you're not taking the slice and then you're cutting it up and you're throwing it over your balcony or something. You're eating it, because that's the purpose, is eating it. And so there, the purpose and the direction and the small thing of eating a piece of pizza from a slice is that you're doing something that's going to ultimately result in the final goal, which is eating the entire pizza. And so I know that's really dumbed down.
How many times can you say the word pizza?
Pizza, 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 pizza. I'm hungry for pizza, obviously. But it's such a great analogy, because even though you're doing something fun and simple like eating a piece of pizza, it's a life lesson, because you are always doing small things, and those small things add up, and then they ultimately result, whether you meant it to be or not, into a big result, which is either a lack of something, or because you wanted something and it didn't actually happen, or it could be something that you actually were aiming for, thinking about doing, and had that as your ultimate goal. And because you did all those small steps with the right direction, then you end up with your result that you want, because you know those are the things you need to do to get there. And I'm watching the time. So do you have any more questions about that, or comments to add?
I think we explained it quite well. And we just heard that, like, we were thinking about something along the similar lines today, and we were planning for our future. We've got our calendar set out. We're going to make some big changes and plans today. We're ready to schedule that in. And
yes, I got my thinking sweatshirt on.
You have a thinking sweatshirt?
Yes, I do.
And so this quote really resonated with us, because, as you said, we need to organize ourselves to make all the little things go towards the bigger picture. And we can't lose sight of the bigger picture, because sometimes, especially right now, when you think, oh, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I have these thoughts all the time. Where
but you have to have plans. Otherwise,
plans.
Get, like, you spiral down.
What I was going to say is that, yes, you need to not think of the fact that you don't know what's going to happen in the future. The future is very uncertain, and the future is always uncertain. It's just that now, because of COVID, everybody's thinking that there is a reason why
it could be uncertain.
It could be. Yeah. But every single day is a blessing. Every single day is the next step to the future, and something could happen that completely throws you off on a smaller scale, not on a global scale like coronavirus. But you need to make sure that you have plans set in place for the future and keep going, because that's what motivates us. That's what keeps us living and keeps us happy and thriving and striving and being the best self that we can be.
Well, also, it's not just a matter of survival. It's also where most times, in times of strife and situations that seem impossible for most, the leaders, the ones that we think back to and go, wow, these guys are amazing. So like, how did they manage to do this? Well, it's because they were faced with this situation. They said, no, we're not going to stand for this. I still want to do this. I still want to make sure that this happens, right? Above all odds. Think of Tesla, think of GE, think of any company that's come out of and thrived after something horrible has happened, like a recession or a situation where things are no longer the status quo, and then all of a sudden people come up with things. We're talking to you from an invention. The Zoom and Facebook and all of these things that we use to communicate weren't even around a couple of years ago, and and thankfully they are now, because now there's a real need, and everyone is adapting. But they still have big plans. There's still plans to make money. There's still plans to thrive. There's still plans to have families. There's still plans, everything. It's just that there's a glitch in the way that needs to be taken care of. And I don't want to downplay COVID-19 as a glitch, but it still is only an obstacle, like Jen said, that is more significant, but it's similar to some other obstacles in your life that you have without it being a global pandemic. And it's up to us as a whole community, as the entire world. So if you're watching this, everyone has to take leadership. Everyone has to do their part. And that is a small thing, but done together as a big thing, it will help us get over this faster. It will help save lives. It will help have the economy not crash. All of these things, including us all believing and striving and thriving towards a goal where things are going to be better. And that's really important. So that's our time for now, and we will see you again next week.
Bye.
Have a wonderful Easter weekend.
Yes, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.